We did this last. We talked about this last time. To be looking over here when the thing. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because we're live.
Yeah.
We're back by popular demand, and by popular demand, I mean Mark said he liked the video, so here we are.
Brandon too,
and Brandon. I didn't even see that comment. I haven't really been paying attention ever since I got humbled by the Humbletons. Anyways,
we'll get into that.
Chase at the Goose and David the Lake Lagus are. I'm just kidding. I was going to do the same thing where I just paused for a long time. Volta does whatever the hell you say it. SEMA.
Volta de Cima. Now, I will point out, it is also actually, it's Portuguese, but it's also, it's Latin too. And you actually pronounced it wrong even in Latin.
No, that's not.
You did. I looked it up.
Correct. No, it's Volta de Cima.
It's not.
Yes, it is. That's
it's
how you say
it. It's Cima.
No, it's not. There's never a point in Latin where a C makes a ch sound.
Hold on.
It's a K. Anyways, this is not what we're here to talk about, and nobody really cares anyways. We're here to talk about everyone's favorite league, the League of Extraordinary Wackadoos, where David holds a sizable lead on first place, and I failed to somehow make the playoffs because my team was not healthy. And I would bring up the thing that we had prepared, but David doesn't have it currently on the screen, and therefore I cannot do it. So I will sit here and stall until it finally happens. And yes, the Goose is not healthy. We have decided to actually send the year and take the year off, and we will be back next year as strong as we possibly can be with 2 Canadian League football players throwing to 2 of my best receivers. So there we go.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Okay, so the first topic we're going to talk about is the 2 seed, an insane race that turned out not to be insane because one of the greatest weeks of all time in the league happened right next to the greatest week of all time. David, tell us a little more about it.
I will tell you more about it, Chase. Sure. We predicted, and we were right. I mean, it was you decided. I asked for your prediction. You said John's going to get it. And what did John go out and do?
John went out 228 points and had one of the most clutch performances of all time for a guy that has proven that clutch doesn't matter to him because it's all luck. Well, we'll go over that later. But let's stick to last week's topic in the second seed here.
You might say that, but because of the way things have gone, Chase, that table that we are referencing has significantly improved for him because he's scored a lot of points recently.
That is true.
He had, Chase, the best, as far as we know, as far back as we have data, the best quarterback fantasy football week ever, Josh Allen.
Well, the guy scored 6 touchdowns in a loss to my Rams.
And ran 3 of them. So that's, oh, goodness gracious. Unbelievable stuff from him. Puka went off too. Basically,
his entire team went off, And
the Bills-Rams game was perfect for him. That's like the best a game could possibly have gone for him.
Correct.
It was incredible on every level.
Honestly, his team should be scoring a lot more than it does, in my opinion.
Yes, it's finally
it's finally taking shape.
As we said last week, we thought that his team was better than his performances showed. Correct. And it's finally catching up. The performances are matching the results because he always had the results, right? He's been the second seed off and on throughout the season. He's been right up there. But he was in points for. He was in like 6th and 7th for most of the season.
Right.
And
all of a sudden
he's still not second or anything, right? No. I think he's 4th now, but still, and it's really close between like 2nd and 5th. It's like really tight.
Well, speaking of max points for, let's go to the next thing where the Cuz has decided to take over the first overall pick from Brandon.
And
what a time to be alive. And I'm assuming this won't change based off of the playoffs, right? Like it's only just the regular season. Okay, that makes sense. Obviously, that's how it works.
So if you pull this up, Chase, you can see that Trevor got it by just over 13 points.
That's actually crazy.
If we recall the standings from last week, the gap between him and Brandon was like, I want to say like 16, 17 points.
Yeah.
So he overcame quite a bit there. I was fearful on a few levels for him because Van Jefferson scored a touchdown, which hurt his max PF. And to me, you know how we were talking about, there's like the only thing you could do at this point is like drop
players that you don't think is good.
Van Jefferson seems like a perfect drop candidate there because he's never going to be anything that you need or want on your team.
Correct.
But he risks scoring a touchdown or 2 and increasing your max PF. So I was a little scared for him for that, but it worked out just fine for him.
I'm just curious if anyone else, like, I wonder, now, Trevor, leave a comment down below if you would. Did you think about that? Because I would give you credit to say that you did.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, I don't even know if that like crossed his mind out of curiosity. I'm just like curious. So let me know in the comments below. But yeah, what a race. That was the funny thing is that 2 of the points for races came down to like basically to the wire to the last game because we didn't know. I didn't know
they were
how it was
both very much
and I would like to point out that me and my humility, of course, scoffed at the fact that Daddy-O would just never in a million years score 100 more points than me this week, and somehow Josh Allen took literally every point from James Cook that possibly could exist.
You thought that this.
And then what is Jaden Reed doing getting 1 target in this game where they score like 35 points or whatever? Trevor needs to figure that out. You tell your guy J-Lo to figure it out.
As we were talking about before, Chase, we've got where is it? We've got Chase went under 100 points 3 times this season.
3 times in a year in a dynasty league with 50,000 players playing at one time is pretty pathetic. And it's not my fault, right?
1 time, 2 times.
I think everyone can look at my team and agree that it has potential and it's good. But the fact that I have 2 of my best players being thrown the ball to, and I will continue to say it, by Canadian football bench players at quarterback in McCorkle fucking Jones and goddamn Drew. I can only kind of dance like a white guy lock. It's just pathetic that 2 of my best rookie pickups went from like wide receiver 1
right, shut up.
to
move
nothing.
on, get over yourself. Now, I will say,
just saying. That's the only time we're going to talk about me, David. Let me talk about it for a second.
What's crazy about the 3 under 100s, Chase? Last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
That's when they all came up.
Yeah.
And you were alternating between 131 this time, so that's like fine. But you still lost that week twice, I believe.
Yeah.
You got to win here. It's not what you want. Your team really fell apart because you were pretty strong here. You were pretty strong for a while. And if we look at
we made moves for the future, and that's all that really matters. And I didn't think I was going to win this year anyways. So it's like we're building for the next year.
One thing we wanted to look at real quick here is the league play record. If we all played everyone each week, what would our record be? Of course, I finally got up into double-digit losses because John outscored me by 2 points this week, even though I scored 226 points. Upsetting. But I ended up with
this is a crazy number. I love looking at this number. And this is what we were kind of we were kind of referencing this last week when we were talking about how John is lucky. He's changed a lot here. Now he's in the middle of the pack, but remember he's 5th on this list and he's the 2 seed.
Yeah.
He's also 5th on the points for list, I think, too, right? Or not 5th, but he's not after this week. But for the most of the year, he was like in the middle of the pack.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not
incredible comeback. I think he deserves to be where he is. I'm not saying
this, but he definitely does. He's the 2nd best team for sure, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Although he did start out super slow. He went 1-8 this week, 2-7, 0-9 one week. He was like, I want to say after week 9 was when I checked on this, and I have the screenshot somewhere. We could pull it up another time, perhaps. Yeah. But after week 9, you were well above him because you had a bunch of 8-1 weeks early on.
Yeah.
You were well above. Now, see, you went from a bunch of 8-1 weeks to you didn't have a single green week here. Green is above 500, above the median.
Correct. Basically. Look at that, a big 0-9 from your boy. Once again, talking about me.
0-9, very tough, very tough. My worst week, of course, week 4 here. The only time I didn't go 9-0 or 8-1, and then there's the 1-7-2 as well.
Right. But we were talking about the max point 4 race here, and we were talking about how Trevor and Brandon were doing the most possible work to be the worst, and Trevor.
And here's what they win for it, Chase.
What do they win?
If we look here, let's look at our mock draft. Okay.
Oh, this is lovely. I wanted to see this actually anyways.
Yeah, I've got you.
Trevor, another point. I will do pretty much anything for Ashton. So just let me know.
Let's look at our mock draft.
I want the guy back.
This does include picks traded. As we can see here, Magic Man would have, our beloved, of course, would have the 103, but he's traded it to Ray. So
God damn it, Ray. And Ray's not taking another quarterback, so he's taking Travis Hunter, which I'm not upset with, but
I mean, a lot of things are going to evolve between now. We've got the whole draft.
Wait, so Daddy-O gets to be in the playoffs, but he's also gets the 5th. Oh wait, never mind.
Well, this is based on
I forgot that I had the 106.
I should clarify. This here is locked in. These are the picks.
The other ones
these
are not.
Picks are, but these are the playoff teams below that, and those will change based off of how the playoffs result. So
can you do me a favor and pull up the playoff bracket real quick before we go further?
Great point.
And so we can actually see what's going on here. So we have Todd fucking Nelson playing our champion, and then oh my God, a round 1 father-son matchup. It doesn't get much spicier than that. I'll tell you what. So Daddy will be getting the 5th pick. No,
it's tight. The projections are tight, Chase. We go look at this.
It's actually crazy.
The projections are very
it's like a Steven
tight.
and Goosen. It's a close one for sure.
You go player by player. I mean, who do you prefer, Purdy or Goff? Who do you prefer?
Goff.
Well, Gibbs over Warren, obviously.
Gibbs.
Brown over Tracy. I think Brown's been insane.
I would go Evans over here.
And Chase, you always go for your chases. Don't forget this is a chase.
That's a good point. Who did I trade Zach Moss to? Wasn't it Daddy-O?
No, that was our beloved.
That's right. Sorry about that, our beloved.
This is a toss up for sure. I'd say I'd give that 50-50. This is also a toss up to me, but I'd probably lean DK.
Just imagine if I had played Tim Patrick. You know what I mean? Like
lots of toss ups here.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ray's probably going to change this. You probably go Drake May over Nick Chubb. I don't think he's actually set his starting lineup here.
I agree.
Anyway,
let's move on. We don't need to talk about matches right now. Okay, so let's go back now. Now that we know that we have Todd fucking Nelson facing our champion, and then we have.
Well, Jason, who do you think's going to play May next week? That's the real question. Who wins this matchup?
I honestly don't know. I don't really know enough about their teams. Does that say that our champion has 161 projected and Todd fucking Nelson?
I mean, they probably haven't set their lineups, but yes. Let's take a look here. So Todd has not put Jaden Daniels back in his lineup. Yeah. So this will change. This isn't correct by any means.
That's a pretty big toss up. I'm going for Todd fucking Nelson, obviously, because I have our champion's pick, and I would like that.
Right. I'm rooting for Todd Nelson as well to play against me because I think his team's just a little more banged up, right? Justin Herbert's a little banged up. CeeDee Lamb doesn't have his quarterback. Kamara's a little banged up, doesn't have his quarterback. There's things happening here that make this team probably more desirable for me to play. And he's going to put Joe Mixon in too, of course. But his team's super strong. I don't want to play him by any means, but I just think Mike's team is probably in better shape right now. So I think I would have to favor him slightly.
Mike's team.
Well, sorry, Mike Hat. I was thinking Mike Hat.
Our champion.
Our champion. Yeah, I think it's super tight. Now, Chase, I also wanted to get into this here.
What's next?
Okay.
Oh, yes. What an all-time week that we had today, ladies and gentlemen. Or by today, I mean this last week. Crazy numbers being put up.
Can you believe the fact in the history of the league? Now, Chase, this really gets to me. Okay, this is incredible stuff. If you check here, you look at the years and the weeks, right? Can you get down there? Yeah, you can see that. All right. Yeah. The previous high score of all time. All right. 2/19/06. Year 2022, week 8. You see another 2022 year, week 8 there? You see that? That's you. That's your all-time high score.
I do see that. Look at that.
Do you remember, Chase?
Wait. Yeah.
Do you remember? You actually played against Brandon that week. You went 1-1 that week.
That's right.
You scored 206 points.
And Lamar and Mark Andrews had like 80 points or something like that, if I recall. It was some ridiculous number.
You actually played against him. You had at that time the 2 highest scores of all time.
That's a great statistic.
You went into the week and you broke the record for most points for in a week. And so did Brandon, and by a lot more.
I am sensing, dare I say, a trend, maybe a pattern. Thoughts?
Well, you might think that, right? It's possible that scoring was just high that week.
Yeah, but still,
the top 10, but it's not the case. It's not actually the case because if we look, here we look at the weekly medians. This past week, not particularly high by any means. This week was lower than last week.
Yeah, but above the median though. Of the medians.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I mean, early in the season, obviously,
that's like what? That's like the 4th highest week.
Yeah, but it's not. This week
it was week 10. What was week 10? Did anybody score anything in week 10?
That's week 9. Sorry, week 9.
No. Week 10. I'm talking about
the week 10. Oh, week 10 was a struggle. Week 10 was an absolute struggle.
What happened on week 10?
Sorry, this is not it.
Okay, we get it.
Week 10. I scored 200 points week 10, despite the fact that it was the lowest scoring week of the year.
Look at that. Trevor was 76.
There were a bunch of below 100s.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
oh my God. There I am at 89.
Bunch of below. And that's what did it, right? It's 3 teams below 100, and not just barely below 100. 3 teams below 90, 2 teams below 80. It's incredible. That might be that's got to be the lowest scoring week of all time.
I agree. All right, let's go back to the draft real quick.
Oh, the draft, sure.
Yeah, and just kind of look at the mock draft that we have here. Ashton, that guy, McMillan. How do you say his name?
I don't actually know. Tataroa?
Yeah, some crazy thing.
I've never heard it said, actually.
I don't really know if I'd even want to take Travis Hunter. He's probably going to be put in freaking on defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's why this is going to evolve a lot. We're going to see what the teams actually do. We're going to see how the end of the season, college football season, goes too. A lot of these guys still have games to play.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see the names so I can actually start thinking about it.
It only has the first 2 rounds for us here, but there's a lot of good players here. A lot of players I like. I'd like to get back into this draft if possible. Contact me.
Dude, Ashton Jean-T is just so cool.
True.
He's just so cool.
Anyways, I don't think anyone's trying that guy from our.
I don't think so.
Chase, we also wanted to talk about who this year had the best start-sit decisions. Who was the best? All right. Yeah. We see it on a week-to-week basis, right? We see it in the week review little post that Sleeper gives us, showing us who was most efficient, etc. But over the course of the year, who was the most efficient? And I bet you could guess it was me. Sorry for the scare of the light mode, but
real, you just lit up even more white than you already are, wearing a white shirt and a white boy.
It's actually very light green, this shirt.
Yeah, it looks pretty much white from where I'm sitting. But can we just talk about the guy that just continues to sneak on in there?
Dude.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch pulling it together with an 86% overall over the year. That's actually insane.
And this is what we didn't get. You talking about Mark and percentages reminded me of something that we completely forgot to talk about, Chase. And that is,
why can't we just stay on that topic that we're on right now?
Because this is insane, and we meant to talk about it.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Let's look back. Yeah, well, even right there, you had
the worst. Week 11 is the worst one.
No, he had 4% on week 14 or some shit.
It just changed. It literally changed to 5%. Regardless, week 11, all the way back then, Mark only had a 5% chance of making the playoffs. Chase had an 88% chance.
That's insane. When we looked earlier, it said 4 and 89. I just want to point that out.
It's changed a little bit.
That's insane. Like my team, just once again talking about me for a second, just the biggest collapse in the history of fantasy football. I'm calling it, because it wasn't like there was a ton of major injuries. It just kind of.
That's pretty bad. Well, hold on. Your team last year collapsed harder.
But it was major injuries.
That's back-to-back years where you have collapsed in absurd fashion, Chase.
I think the year before my team collapsed as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I
think I'm like one of the most injury-prone teams at the wrong times.
I just remembered this as well, Chase. I wanted to talk about this.
Or I'm just garbage. I mean,
this is insane, Chase. Are you aware of the fact that Mark every year has finished one place better than the last? So in our inaugural season, he finished in 3rd place. Well into the playoffs. Remember, last year he snuck into the playoffs in a very absurd manner. We can, in fact, we could bring that up. I forgot how to. I have to change which league it is because it's technically a different league. It doesn't matter. He had a 4% chance to get in 3 weeks before, similar to this. It was very similar. He had no chance and snuck in. And remember, he did it with different rules because we had different rules. Last year, he actually wouldn't have got in with the current rule. And this year, he gets in either way.
That's pretty funny.
And last year, he snuck in and then got 2nd place. So he went from 3rd place to 2nd place. Now he sneaks in again.
Uh-oh. I don't know. Precedent tells us.
The trend is there, Mr. Goosen.
The trend is there. Yeah, you're screwed. I just wanted to point that out.
I am.
Yeah. You're not
My
winning.
guys also have some bad matches.
I hope you know you're not going to win.
Well, according to the numbers here, Chase,
you're just somehow not going to win.
What tab we're on.
Because it makes too much sense. You're not going to win.
It's giving me a 52% chance to win the finals right now. I pretty much agree with that. I think that I probably have an 80% chance to make the finals. And I think the percentages here track and are correct based on this model. We can also do the ELO adjusted model, which lowers my chances a little bit, interestingly enough. But we'll go with the traditional model. Look, they just changed 51%. The model's always adjusting. People
it is a living, breathing document. It is always adjusting based on the amount of mouse clicks. Exactly, always adjusting. Got to figure out how many votes.
Look at the percentages to move on to the next week. Very tight between these. Yeah. It thinks, in fact, this formula thinks Todd's favored to beat Trevor Kennedy, our champion. My apologies.
Yeah, please.
50-50 in the father-son matchup.
I mean, what a matchup that's going to be. I'm going to be locked into that. Like,
think about the fact that from one week to another, Chase. So before week 15, before week 14 here, it's giving Mark a less than 1% chance to win the finals. Now, look at that, just adjusted 7% chance.
Wow, this guy, I mean, the computer knows, it senses the momentum.
Creeping up there.
It feels the power of Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch coming in at the very end to make some noise.
And these stats also show you, Chase,
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
The value of the bye week. Look at how much the bye week spikes your chances of winning the finals because you don't have – because, there's every chance in the world that if I had to play any of these teams that are in the quarterfinals here, that I could lose to them this week, right? Like my guys could put up some duds. It can happen. It's happened all season, right? Justin Jefferson puts up 4 points. Jamar Chase puts up 9 points one week. If those all happen at the same time, I'm screwed. And that can very easily happen while someone else pops off. I get to completely take this week off. I don't have to look at anything. I don't have to care.
Yep.
I get to rest my guys. They're going to be healthy. Hopefully they don't get injured on a bye week.
Yeah, for real. Hey, that's fantasy, baby.
That's fantasy. But look, it just spikes your chances so much because I don't think John's team is that much better than Ray's, for example. I do think it's better, but not to the point where he has more than a 2.5 times better chance of winning the finals than Ray.
Well, I think it's the quality of player they're playing against, right? Because
and having to play.
Well, having to play one more game is probably the biggest part. But then, what's the actual bracket again?
Sorry. Right here, Mr. Goosen. Here's the bracket for you. He's got to play, and then he's got to play me.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of them has to make it, and they're expecting John to make it. So it's that's unfortunate. I would have hoped that Ray would have been on your side, but what do I know? I know literally nothing.
Yeah, I think when we talked about last week, you asked me which teams I was most afraid of. I didn't want to play the most, and I said John and Ray, and they're on the other side of the bracket. So that worked out for me if I was right about that. But
well, you're gonna have to face one of them eventually. Most likely, unless Marky Mark comes in there.
Ooh, Mark could do it.
He really could.
Chase. If we think about this, I've always said that I have an inherent advantage here. If your team is good or if your team doesn't have a lot of depth, it's easier to pick your start sits correctly, right? Like if you're very top heavy, it's super easy.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't say my team's top heavy. It's got a lot of depth, but it's got a lot of fucking studs. So I don't have I'm not sitting here going, which of Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Amon-Ra St. Brown am I sitting this week? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, that's not a tough decision, really.
No, that makes it easy. So I'm not saying that I'm the best start sitter based on this. We will do, I think probably at the end of the full season, we'll recap the all-time standings here. Which can be fun to look at. But
these are fun. These are fun. How about our beloved come in there at the 81, just right in the middle of the pack?
I forgot to specify the bottom there is Trevor Goosen. Of course, Trevor Kennedy is our champion.
Correct. That's the thing that we're starting.
Yes, it matches our beloved, you see.
Correct. Our beloved, we could just do an hour something for everybody, but that would take too long. Our Todd fucking Nelson.
Our Lake.
Our Lake. Yeah, no, this is interesting. All right,
Chase, before we go,
it's crazy.
First of all, this one more time.
I can't believe half of this stuff. So okay, we get it.
Before you go, what's our last bracket? Pick your bracket. Go ahead, make your full prediction. Who's winning each matchup rest of the way? So first, give me Todd versus Trevor Kennedy, our champion.
Okay, so Todd fucking Nelson versus our champion. I've counted out our champion before.
Yeah, we all have.
I have not believed in him multiple times. The guy has no picks. no future,
No.
but just
And his
figures
team's
out a
old.
way to win. So I'm gonna go Todd fucking Nelson because I need his pick to be bad so that I can get the 6th overall pick.
You need our champions pick to be bad.
Yes, I need our champions pick to be bad, so I need him to lose. So
it'd be the 5th overall pick.
The most selfish pick I'm gonna make right now because I only have skin in this game. I'm gonna go with Todd fucking Nelson taking the chip. Well, not taking the chip, but taking that particular matchup. It's hard. It's hard because Marky Mark and our fearless leader both have teams that can do it. They can both get there.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's just mean or rude of me even to say that the guy that just knocked me out isn't going to go all the way. So obviously I'm going to pick Ray here.
Okay, so now we've got Todd versus myself.
Correct. You're winning. Yeah, you're winning.
I'm winning. Okay.
And then we have John versus Ray.
That's hot. That's hot.
I don't think it's quite as hot. I've thought that John's team has been really good for a long time.
For sure.
Hasn't performed. I think it's a very lame, very boring you versus John in the finals.
And who wins it?
I'd have to look at the schedules. No, I'm kidding.
We bring them up for you real quick. I can show you who my guys are playing, who his.
In order for me to feel the best about my life, I don't want either one of you guys to win, so I hope you tie. I'm kidding. I don't even know if you can tie. I would assume it'd just go for points for overall or something like that. I don't know.
We just go to week 18. Week 18 tiebreaker. That's a good question for you, Ray. How do we tie break?
I think you're gonna win. Like, I think you have the greatest fantasy team of all time. So it's not even particularly
for all of you playing along at home. Here is the greatest fantasy team of all time, according to Chase. Regular season, probably already the case.
Yeah, that's the greatest team ever assembled, for sure. I mean, you have Sincere McCormick on your team, so like
he's already been declared the starter, even with Alexander Madison returning. Yeah.
Well, Alexander Madison is trash at football, so like that's not really that surprising. But hey, I'm gonna say you win it in a decently close game with John. Decently close.
Exciting.
I will. What week is that? That's 3 weeks from now, right? That's in January. Is that in January?
No,
right?
no. That's a week after Christmas, I do believe.
Oh, so that's December 29th. I will be watching from the air as I return from Europe.
The last game of our season here, the last game of the finals that it might come down to will be Monday Night Football on December 30th.
Okay, I'll be home for that.
Also, Chase,
watching football on the way.
I'm a little afraid. I'm taking a flight to Pensacola, my home, as I am a Florida man.
Correct.
I will be there.
We had a viewer there for a second. That's actually hilarious. We're live streaming this to my YouTube channel and then posting it, and there was one viewer for like 1 second there.
Anyways, Chase, I'm flying to Pensacola on Monday, the 23rd of December, which will be the last game. I take off from here at like 7:50 p.m. So like right before kickoff of Monday Night Football. And so I'm not going to get to watch it. And I'm going to have players. Like, say it's me versus our champion, or me versus Todd. Let's say it's me versus Todd. Todd will have Kamara and I'll have Josh Jacobs in that game because it's Packers Saints on Monday Night Football.
It can't be you versus Todd. You're in the same side of the bracket.
That's exactly why it could be me versus. We're talking about week 2. We're talking about the semifinals.
Oh, sorry.
So the last game of the semifinals, if it's me and Todd, we're both going to have players in that game, and I won't get to watch it unless I pay for internet on the plane. But even then, that's a tiny-ass plane to Pensacola, so it has shit internet, so I wouldn't even be able to watch it on it probably either. I'm going to be stressed out. I won't know if I'm winning.
You know what they say? First world problems.
That's true.
All right. Well, thank you for coming to our weekly chat, which we probably won't do again until the end of the year. This was actually fun. I'm glad we're here doing this. David,
very unorganized, I think, from us here. I
thought we actually did pretty well. Yeah, I mean, you kind of skipped over some story. You kind of skipped around on some storylines, and I had to bring you back. But that's just the name of the game, baby. That's why I'm your host with the most.
It's actually you're the one that sidetracks me.
I'm not entirely sure about that. I'm the one wearing the button up, so
I'm the one wearing the fancy headphones.
That's true. All right. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this one even more than the last one, especially you, Mark. Okay. We'll see you guys punching later.